Hello, everyone. My name is Jack Shea, and welcome to our third episode of the Right Side Talks show and podcast. I'm Jack Shea, and I am the founder of Right Side Talks LLC, and I'm joined alongside my co-founders and executive director Cecilia Brown, and creative director for the show and Right Side Talks LLC, Nick Krebit. Thank you for joining me today, guys, and we really appreciate it. We're gonna get right into it, right? I'm excited. It's been a little bit, hasn't it, since we had a
It's been
little
a minute.
episode, but it's gonna be a good
Long.
one. It's been too long, but it's gonna be. We have a great one on tap for you guys, so let's get right into it. Just yesterday, December 28th, 2025, there was a meeting between President Trump and President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky. The meeting, according to both parties, went very well. They met in Florida at Trump's residency at Mar-a-Lago, where they discussed a revised 20-point peace framework plan following Trump's prior phone calls with Russian President Vladimir Putin, which they called right before that meeting with Zelensky. So Trump just coming right off the phone call with Putin, going right into the meeting with Zelensky, having a nice fluid transition between those two meetings. And those were just to kind of gauge Moscow's position, but also what Kiev's and Zelensky's position is going into these very prolonged peace talks. Both leaders, however, with Putin and Trump and Zelensky, they all express optimism, with Zelensky saying that 90% of the plan has been agreed upon. The only issues that he has with the agreed upon compromise would be including a full consensus on the U.S. security guarantees. Vladimir Zelensky is looking for a 40-year security guarantee for the United States. Trump is looking to offer him 15 years. This is a huge difference, and we're going to have to find some common ground within how long the United States is willing to guarantee security for the sovereign nation of Ukraine. While the Russians have decided that they publicly rejected very few key elements of this proposal, such as with the withdrawing from occupied territories, insisting on full control of the Donbass. The Donbass region is the region in Ukraine that Russia has invaded and maintained control since they invaded in 2022, and they're looking to hold on to this disputed territory that they've held for so many years at this point now. And one of Ukraine's very held and stuck in the ground positions is that they are not willing to give up any piece of territory to the Russian Federation. But, and that's where Russia will not move the stick because they want to take control of this land, such and foremost. Following up with some of the key groups, this is between the United States being the middleman, essentially, between the diplomatic ties and relations to ending this war between the Russian Federation and the sovereign Ukrainian nation. So as we get right into it, let's start with who would like to take this first, and with how we've seen since 2022 the war in Ukraine between Russia and Ukraine, and the many key pieces getting involved, with North Korea getting involved at some point, and the overall influence with money and weapons from the United States being sent uh, in the billions of dollars being used by taxpayer dollars in the United States. Will this ever come to an end?
Honestly, the whole Russia Ukraine thing, I do see some problems with it because you see part of Ukraine wanting to return to Russia, as a lot of people who already, like, historically, like the parts that were part of Russia, they want to return. And you see Ukraine holding on to that a lot. And then on top of that, you also see Ukraine being ranked 105th out of 180 of one of the most corrupt countries in the world. So it's definitely like a weird position to be in. And so I think it's kind of just a messy war overall. I do think we need to pull out our funding. I think we are way too involved in that, something that has truly nothing to do with us. Truly nothing to do with us, and we're using taxpayer money to go over there, which I'm fully against. I'm fully against supporting foreign war when it does not benefit the United States and we're not part of it. So, honestly, the quicker we can get this over with and the quicker we can relocate the money that we were spending in Ukraine over to American citizens, I'm happy with.
I think one thing to think about at some point, all of these discussions about this peace deal and this treaty and that, cutting funding, everything has to eventually like they got to put their money where their mouth is. Or I'm not sure if that's the right phrase to use, but they're talking the talk. Eventually, these people got to walk the walk, and that goes for Zelensky, Putin, and whoever it is in the U.S. that's being the diplomat, making these negotiations between the nations. I think it's good that Trump is in office right now, considering his relationship with Putin is relatively good, comparing to Kamala, who knows how it would be going now because she really had no connection with him whatsoever. But yeah, I just think, with the talks, and we can compare this with the war um, in Gaza, we're talking about all these peace treaties. Eventually, something's got to happen, or either we're just now just committing war crimes or breaking peace deals, or we're just wasting money, especially if no progress is actually being made in the war. You know what I mean?
I think it comes down to the fact that we're wasting money. Um, because I would say I regularly watch the news pretty much, and I haven't really seen much gain or loss on either side since it started. I think it was 2021 or 2022 it started. Or maybe it was 2020. It's been a
It was
while.
April 22 that would have started.
But like you see everything occurring and no real progress being made. I mean, you have I pulled up like some stats cuz I'm not like the most educated in this war because it's been going on for so long and I feel like pretty much it's been pretty stagnant, you see the same thing. But I just I just feel like we're dragging it. We should have gone for a peace deal earlier. We should have pulled out our taxpayer money earlier. Because at the end of the day, half of these countries that we fund for wars would have lost steam almost instantly if we didn't hand the money.
Well, that's absolutely true, and that's a little bit to my point of how I stand on this war. Is I do believe that Ukraine is a democracy that we need to have around in the international stage. The Russian Federation is the complete opposite of that. They're a dictatorship. They're an evil nation, and they need to be stopped. So when they're trying to be imperialist, and they have shown that through invading Ukraine like they did, they need to be stopped. They need to be shown that this will not be tolerated. If you allow it to happen through the appeasement plan, just look at what happened in World War II when people said, "Oh, Hitler invaded," you know, when he this when Hitler invaded other sovereign nations before even Poland. People were like, "Oh, give him a little bit of territory, give him a little bit more, give him a little bit more, and then maybe he'll stop." And then eventually he invaded Poland, and that was the final strike. Or if you do that in the similar situation here, if you let Putin take Ukraine, will it just stop at Ukraine? No, he'll probably go after Georgia next. He'll probably go after, and because he wants to reunite and reunify the old Soviet Union. That's what's been the marking of this whole invasion, is that he wants to reunify the old Soviet satellite nations, and he wants to bring it back into the Russian influence in their sphere. And we just can't allow that to happen. That is so the Ukraine is in the national interest of the United States, in my opinion, and that's why I do believe that we should be on their side and aiding them. Now, I don't think we should be aiding them with money, with billions of dollars, just with no strings attached. I think we should aid them through military equipment, which most of the foreign aid that we've given them has been through that method.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think if we can just throw away the fact like we can't be an infinite money supply, and we shouldn't be that way for anyone. I don't care what country it is. The U.S. cannot be an infinite money supply. We have enough economic issues as it is. We're all college students. Jack, you're about to graduate. Cecilia, you're a year ahead of me. I got some time, but I know we're all sort of in a way worried about, hey, are we gonna be able to like buy a house at a reasonable time? Like, sorry,
Mhm.
mom and dad, I don't want to live with my parents forever. It's just not. This is not really my vibe. I mean, love you guys to death, but we have enough economic issues as it is. We can't be an infinite money glitch for these other countries. We really can't be. We can support them. We can support our allies, but we can't. You can't dump infinite money. I feel like that's just common sense. I
I
don't feel like I'm really blowing anyone's mind with this.
Yeah,
You know?
and
Mhm.
I feel like part of it as well is like, so when we give foreign aid, they do have to show, like for Ukraine, they do have to show where they're spending it, what they're spending it on. They kind of have to, show where that money's going. Um, my problem is it just feels so counterproductive to fund a war that's not, no one's winning. No one's winning this war. I hate to break it to you guys. No one's winning. Nobody's gaining anything from the Russia-Ukraine war. It feels so pointless to me. It just feels so pointless that we just hand out money to countries, especially when you don't see anything occurring. I couldn't tell how I don't even know how much money we've sent to Ukraine recently. But you see no major updates, anything moving forward, anything really occurring. Um, it's kind of just stagnant, super stagnant.
Oh, it absolutely has been. The major movements within the battlefield took place in that first year, say April 22 to 23. And we saw it go back and forth, but you were absolutely right. It has gone stagnant. The lines have not changed or moved since 23. So now, as we're almost going to be entering soon, the fourth year of the war, and then the third year that's been stagnant, nothing's happened. You're absolutely right. It's been a prolonged war and needs to end, and that's what President Trump's trying to accomplish here. But then again, both sides are very stuck in their ways, though. I think that the you know the United States is really trying to draft up a deal that's going to end this war, and it's going to be in the middle. It's not going to appease Zelensky. It's not going to appease Putin. It needs to be in the middle. And Zelensky, I understand him not wanting to give up the Donbass. He sees that as Ukrainian land. However, you did mention this at the top, Cecilia, that there are many residents in the Donbass region that want to be unified with Russia, but also this is also how war goes. If you conquer that land and control it, especially for as long as they have now, uh, that's theirs. That's Russia, and if you want to end this war, you most likely need to get the Donbass region to Russia to end this war. And that's what they want. That's what they're looking for. And I think, they're looking for all of Ukraine. But if we can just get in the Donbass and end this war, I think that's what we need to do. Because ultimately, the end goal here is this: end this war and save lives. We don't want to see people dying anymore.
That's
Yeah.
sort of that's the thing at the end of the day is not only would there be funds being wasted, but that's the least of our issues. We're still talking about human lives here. That's what we have to remember is if we've had 3 years of stagnantness, I'm not sure if that's a word, but if we've had 3 years where it's been stagnant, how many lives have been pointlessly lost in that essence? So I think it's really good that Zelensky and Trump have visited, and I hope that both sides can. I'm not sure if they're being stubborn, but maybe be a little bit more open minded to some sort of peace deal, and just call it quits. Where we're at right now because people can't afford to keep losing lives, and I know countries might just see them as troops, but they're human lives. So there's just all sorts of problems that could be solved if the peace deal would have been settled in the years they've been talking about it. So I think it's good that Trump and Zelensky are trying to work something out, and you know, Trump's this term for Trump so far has been pretty controversial, but if this deal does go well, I mean, I definitely applaud him for that.
You're absolutely right about that, Nick. And this also can't be a Trump Zelensky peace deal plan. This needs to be a Trump Zelensky Putin peace deal plan. Eventually Trump needs to bring the both of them to a table at the same exact time and say uh, these are what we're drawing up as a plan. And if you guys truly want to end the war, sign it right now. They need to be sit down at the table face to face in person to get this done. It can't be I know we're doing it right now, but Trump meeting with or having phone calls and meeting with Putin, and then going to meet with Zelensky. No, we need to have the both of them meet, have Trump be the mediator, and get this done. That's how you truly end this war.